Alright, you daft bastards. Settle in, grab a glass of whiskey, hell, grab two, because today we're answering the only question that truly matters. Could Scotland survive in the Grimdark hellscape of Warhammer 40K? Spoiler alert, probably fucking not. But that's no reason to not enjoy a wee laugh at the thought. Now before we dive into the madness, hit that subscribe button. Or don't. I'm not your ma. But if you do, there's a Discord server on the horizon where we can chat shite about Warhammer, Whisky, and why the Emperor of Mankind wouldn't last 5 minutes at a Highland Ceilidh. Now, let's crack on, shall we? First up, Scotland itself. For those of you who have never had the pleasure of visiting Scotland, it's a land of towering mountains, endless rain, and the constant feeling that the weather is trying to kill you. Honestly, if Warhammer had a Death World version of Scotland, it would probably be just Scotland, only with more midges. Imagine the Imperium arriving on Terra thousands of years ago, scouting out strategic locations and finding Scotland. They'd say, this place is cold, wet, and hostile, perfect for training Astra Militarum regiments. Meanwhile, the Scots are standing there, kilt-clad and claymores in hand, going, "What took you so long? We've been ready for a fight since Bannock burned. The people tough as nails. We've survived Roman invasions, Viking raids, and centuries of being told to behave by the English. The Warhammer universe would just be the next challenger in the queue. Now let's talk chaos. Imagine Abaddon the Despoiler landing his Black Crusade in Scotland. He'd step off his fancy chaos ship, survey the landscape, and immediately realize he made a colossal mistake. The locals would greet him the same way we greet any outsider, with suspicion, hostility, and maybe a glass of whiskey, if he's lucky. Khorne's demons might think they'd find a welcome audience for their bloodlust, but they'd quickly learn that Scots don't need chaos to love a good fight. "Blood for the blood god," they'd shout. "Aye mate, but only after the match is over." And there's Nurgle. He'd try to spread his plagues, but Scotland's already got a cure. Iron Brew. Ya think I'm kidding? That stuff is a fucking cure-all. Hangovers, heartbreak, warp-borne diseases, you name it. And Slanesh, oh, she'd run fucking screaming. Imagine him showing up in Glasgow on a Friday night, thinking he's all ready for debauchery, only to find he's woefully unprepared for a proper night out. And Zinch. Nobody in Scotland trusts a sneaky bastard who promises change. Now let's say Scotland tried to fit into the Imperium. It would be a disaster. The Imperium loves its conformity, and Scotland loves not doing what it's fucking told. The Administratum would roll in with their reams of parchment and their servitors, and the Scots would just laugh. "You're going to do what with our whiskey distilleries? Over my dead body." But if we did manage to slot into the Imperium, we would need our own Astra Militarum regiment. The Highland Howlers. Imagine it, las guns with tartan patterns, tanks named after whiskey brands, and bagpipes that double up as sonic weapons. The White Scars might have their bikes, but we have armored bagpipes shooting flames. And you know what? We'd probably adopt a Primarch as an honorary Scot. Leman Russ is the obvious choice. He drinks, he fights, and he's hairy as hell. He'd fit right in. But Vulcan would be a close second. The man's a master smith. Give him a lump of metal and he'd forge the most badass claymore you'd ever seen, complete with flamethrower attachments. Let's shift gears. What happens when Xenos come a knockin'? Let's start with the Tyranids. These hungry bastards would land, take one bite of haggis, and immediately turn around. We came here for biomass, not whatever this is. Meanwhile, the Scots would be out there in their fields shouting, "Oi, bug boy! Come taste my claymore!" The Eldar, oh, they'd get their arses handed to them. All their fancy psycho nonsense wouldn't hold up against the sheer volume of insults a Scot can hurl in 30 seconds. Ya warp shite, mate, and your fucking craft world pure dead raking. The Orks, though, that's a different story. We might actually like the Orks. They're all about fighting, having fun, and that's pretty much a Saturday night in Aberdeen. Can you imagine the Scots and the Orks teaming up for a scrap? Beautiful chaos, that. Now, let's be honest. Scotland would probably get its arse handed to it in the Warhammer universe. Not because we ain't tough, but because the Imperium doesn't care about toughness. They care about obedience. They'd march in and bulldoze our castles and turn the Highlands into a manufacturing zone. And the Ecclesiarchy? Forget about it. They'd ban Whisky, and that's when the rebellion would start. Scotland wouldn't fall to chaos because of warp whispers or demonic promises. No, we'd turn to chaos because they let us keep our distilleries. Can you imagine a demon prince fueled by Glenlivet? Frightening, but oddly classy. But here's the thing, even if we lost, we'd go down swinging. The last stand of Scotland would be the stuff of legends. A fortress in the Highlands, surrounded by Chaos, Xenos, and Imperium forces alike. With Scots screaming, "You'll never take my whiskey!" as the world burned around them. Bloody glorious. So, could Scotland survive in Warhammer 40K? Probably not. But we'd make such a bloody mess of things that the galaxy would remember us forever. And that is what matters, isn't it? If you've enjoyed this nonsense, give the video a like, subscribe, and share it with a pal. And remember, in Scotland, we don't wait for the Emperor to protect us. We protect ourselves with whiskey, insults, and a good solid headbutt. Cheers, you beautiful bastards, and have a killing day. Promises, they weigh me down, wearing thin this paper crown. Stand up tall, pillar of stone, face the storm, you're not alone. Hold the line, don't let it break, sacrifice what's left to take.